Well, hello members, LA here with another edition of TA Today's Cradle to Grave Trading, where we look at equities starting where we take them until where we get off the ride. The two equities that we're still looking at, gold. We've had gold on this Cradle to Grave trade way back. I think it was like February, March we started tracking. Here we are in September still doing it. And gold giving us a nice trade, continuing to give us a nice trade all along the way. What do we have now? Well, the last time we talked, we talked about a range, and we were using this big bar as we came back to it as an ideal place to try and add. If you take and expand that range, take a look at it, right? That was the ideal place. We bought in again, as you know, last week. That buy point, we were just slightly early. We bought in right here on that dip down. After having sold back up here at the highs on this bar, about 128, 60, 70, somewhere up in that area. So we get out, we buy back in, we make our size a little bit larger, expecting some sort of an attempt to bounce, and in fact that is what we got. Nice little bounce taking place already. Where's it going to go to is the next idea. There's two places we should look. We see this bar and we see this bar again. And so the overlap, or actually the congruent area, is right in there. That's where we're going to come to first, and that's going to be the first decision point for gold, is like, can it get over this? I suspect it will, and if it does, it's going to make it up to this next bar, and the top of that one is right about there. And then if you think about where we got out, which was this little ledge that had formed up here, I suspect that's going to be the next area that it tries to get to. And that is where we're probably going to want to sell again. Now, when you're doing this, right, and when I say sell again, we either sell or we hedge it. And when we're doing this, the problem is like, how long does it consolidate before it takes off? And does it come back deeper? In other words, can we trade deeper? Those are the things that we don't know. What we do know is we have a range right now. It respected the range, and it made the trade worthwhile. If I bring over the weekly chart, here on the weekly, you can see that ledge right there. That's the bottom of the range. You have these bars supporting it. Those bars come back as deep as 122. 122 is into this high, and then this bar is about 121. And so if gold is going to carve out a larger range, in other words, if this range doesn't hold, right, and we carve out a larger one, I would expect this bar, the bottom, the top of it would be about as far as this thing would get. And that would be the ideal entry again. That's if it doesn't hold and we pull back, and that's also into this congruent area here with these large volume bars along with that. That's the ideal place around 121, 122 if we fall further. That's $4 down from where we're at. That's another 3% or so. Can we get there? Sure we can. Will we get the bounce first up into this area and let us take some profits? I think there's a good chance of it, and allow us to set up again for another move back to the downside. And so I like the way this is playing out. It's doing exactly what we wanted. Long term, as you know, I'm quite bullish on gold, and I still think this thing's going to go a lot higher. Problem is when you're coming off of a bottom, right? This has been a long move down. When you're coming off a bottom, you get a steep incline, just like we got. What you're going to see is a pullback. Right now, it's a minor one, probably a little bounce, maybe set up an ABCD structure to get lower, get back into this 121 area. This could come down even deeper if you're looking at it on a monthly time frame, and that's all the way back to this 115, but we'll deal with that as it happens. This is going to be the sweet spot probably to be doing some buying on the way back. As long as it holds up in that area, I think gold is going to probably be doing just fine. Now, the other stock we're tracking is BABA. All right, BABA had a multiple swing point breakout, multiple time frames. We anticipated that. If you go back and look at the earliest video that we did, we anticipated that that could happen, and that was way back here when it was getting ready to break out over this point, and we bought in right before that happened. Got a nice bump up, right? Added some more here. Now got the push. We didn't add on this retrace, although that was an ideal place. We didn't quite get the entry. And now we hear it breaking out again, right? Breaking out over the highs, get a trend transition, actually reaffirmation. Now, can this pull back? Sure it can. How much? Well, that remains to be seen. But if it does, it's going to be an opportunity to get back in, somewhere around 97, 98 probably. If we look at it longer term, that breakout that we were talking about was breaking multiple swing points, multiple time frames, right? They were all set up together. Big push up, little pullback, now an attempt to push it higher. If this does just leg up, that tells us just how strong this stock is. And I think there's a decent chance it could do that. And why is that? Well, because right now, this push on Friday has gone into this big bar. So we're into the bar now, right? If we can hold in that bar for a couple bars, maybe even push another, a little bit farther up into this and hold it, get up into this area in the first third of it, then the odds are is you're going to try to attack that high. I do suspect that's where we're going eventually. And so we're going to see another $20 in this stock, which is another 20%. So there's a lot of room still to go to get to where we're trying to go. We keep playing this for all it's worth, and we try to add some more here on any kind of a little retrace off this push up. That's the scenario. That's the way this thing looks. And let me go back to that daily because I want to show you one more time exactly where that entry is going to be so that we're on the same page. And so remember, anytime you break a high, you set up a retrace, retest, regen, right? That retest, regen is into this bar. If it happens right away, you can expect it into the bottom third of that bar, maybe a full one. The low is 96.82. So I think anywhere from 96.82 about 97.5 is the ideal spot. That high, that low on Friday was about 98. So I suspect what we're going to see is anywhere from about 97.5, 98 is where they're going to try to buy it again. And that's where we should be looking as well to add to a winning position. You want to leverage up on those things that are working and that still have good potential. All right, that's it. Have a great one. Thanks. Take care.